Hi everybody, it's Dandruff with your news Cartridge for Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. Welcome to Wednesday, and we start today with Moonlighter coming to Nintendo Switch by 11-Bit Studios, the same developer who made this war of mine. Coming to PC on November 28th is the PS3 and Xbox 360 release of Star Ocean, the first time ever the RPG will officially be seen on the platform. Previously, it was only achievable through emulation. Another PC game to release is the free-to-play 2D fighting game Brawhalla, which is now out of Steam's Early Access program. Be sure to give this one a try. I've played a little bit of it, and I quite like it. It's a lot like Super Smash Bros., but with a bigger emphasis on weaponry. Up next in update news, Killing Floor 2 has begun its Halloween event on PC, and console will join next week on Tuesday, October 24th. It brings a new map, new weapons, new Halloween cosmetics, and daily quests. Overwatch has been updated on all three platforms, which makes changes to both Mercy and Lucio. Mercy's Valkyrie ability no longer resets or reduces her resurrection cooldown, and Lucio's wall ride speed has been restored after it had been lowered. If you want to find the full patch notes, as always, there are links in the description down below, along with timestamps and links for sources for all of today's stories. Our final update is for ARMS to version 3.2, and you can now watch and save replays, and introduces a new achievement system. Moving on from there, data miners have discovered a deliberate mistake in Pokemon Go. There exists a pair of legendary Pokemon named Latias, who is female, and Latios, who is male. Niantic has gotten them reversed, but this won't affect the game at all because legendary Pokemon can't breed, and there's no breeding mechanics introduced into the game yet. I'm sure this will be fixed before these legendaries debut. If you subscribe to Twitch Prime, then your rewards this month are 5, loot boxes for Overwatch. Great, fucking great. Now Twitch is in on it. And to give you another great example of the state of video games today, Fatshark Games has decided to advertise up front that Vermintide 2 will contain loot boxes, but will not be purchasable with real-world currency. Everything will be handled in-game. I have said in the past that I'm absolutely in favor for a system like this. Having a random chance can not only be fun, but you can utilize it as a great game mechanic, but selling it for real money incorporates an element of gambling that I do not want to see in video games anymore. In other news, remember how Denuvo once called itself the uncrackable DRM? Well, South Park: The Fractured But Whole released just yesterday and uses it, and it's already been cracked. I will confirm via my own sources that a cracked version of the game is available, but I obviously will not link to it, and I do not advocate piracy. However, that does not mean that I support DRM. I think pointing out how little time it takes to break this stupid software shows how futile this fight is. What do you think? Are developers eventually going to drop DRM altogether, or are they just going to make it more intrusive? Let me know in the comment section down below. From there we go into a story that I've reported on a lot in the past. The Elysium project has been shut down, but not because of a legal obligation from Blizzard. Elysium was an attempt at bringing back a vanilla World of Warcraft experience for those who enjoyed the base game and did not like how it changed after the expansions. If you've ever played WoW, then you know the world that exists today is nothing like what it was at launch. The staff at Elysium are citing embezzlement for their closure, as an employee used a vast majority of the company's funds for personal reasons, leaving them unable to continue operations. In addition, that same person and another employee were selling gold to gamers and directly profiting from it. I really don't have many words for this. It's really sad to see this is the end of this story. And that brings us to our main topic today, and while I have reported on stories like this in the past, I've kind of just glossed over them, but because of the timing of everything, I feel as though this needs a little bit more attention. We are once again talking about EA Games today, after yesterday's news that Visceral Games would be shutting down. Today, Mass Effect Andromeda was put into EA's vault. Like I said, I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, and I hope it's not, but hear me out on this one. My issue is that Andromeda released about 7 months ago on March 21st, 2017, and there's older titles that are still not in the vault, like Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. All the reports that I've seen say that Andromeda sold enough copies to turn a profit, and there's no question of that, but it still may have not been enough, or EA has just deemed it at the end of its life. And to give you a little bit more information about Visceral Games, Dead Space 2 sold more than 4 million copies, and somehow that wasn't enough. It had cost $60 million to make, and it would have made its money back if it sold 1 million copies at the $60 price tag. Beyond that, it would just be profit, so I cannot understand how that's not enough. Yesterday I had said that BioWare may be next, and I am just shocked that we may be seeing evidence of that the next day after Visceral was closed. If the Star Wars game that they're working on doesn't sell as well as EA wants it to, then you can expect to see the end of BioWare by 2020. That is, if EA doesn't decide to close their doors before that. that. I do agree that games have to meet their sales expectations, but when the first Dead Space sold roughly 2 million copies and the second one sold 4 million, you have to question the expectations. I think the key here is to stop shutting down these companies and instead let them do what they do best, provide them a modest budget and reasonable sales expectations. Believe it or not, I think Ubisoft has it right here with their indie studios producing games like Grow Home. Truth be told though, EA is doing this a bit too with games like Unraveled, but the problem with those games is they don't turn the same profits that the big production games can. But then I have to point to games like No Man's Sky and PUBG, and I don't care what you think of the games themselves, both are some of the most successful games in the last 2 years when you compare cost to revenue generated. Expectations need to be lowered to put less pressure on developers, while at the same time, budgets need to be lowered too to make them be more creative with their money, but not so low that it strangles them. Otherwise, we're back in the exact same spot we were before. There is a happy medium here, and it's just going to take time to figure out, but in the meantime, I'm going to be worried about the future of BioWare. Do you agree with me and think that we need smaller budgeted games, or do you think that will stifle development and we need those multi-million-dollar titles? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you need any of these games? It's tomorrow's game releases. For PC, Sweeper VR, the Jackbox Party Pack 4, Campfire Cooking, The Mind of Marlowe, Party Hard Tycoon, Think of the Children, Cats Make You Smarter, Spelunker Party, The Cave VR, Call of War, Bomber Crew, Opus Magnum, Google Spotlight Stories, Pearl, Organ Quarter, and Sociable Soccer. For Nintendo Switch, Spelunker Party, the Jackbox Party Pack 4, Party Golf, The Count Lucanor, Judge, Elliot Quest, Super Ping Pong Trick Shot, and Revenant Saga. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been News Cartridge. I am Dandruff. I will see you tomorrow. And I bought a dog from a blacksmith. I know he was from a blacksmith because as soon as I brought him home, he made a bolt for the door. That was a dumb joke, Dandruff. Oh, geez, these jokes are getting really bad. Made a bolt for the door. Oh, God. So, yeah, things seem to be moving really quickly these days. Oh, we don't like loot boxes. Oh, well, they brought up in Parliament. Oh, I think BioWare is going to get shut down. Oh, look, BioWare might get shut down. Like, oh, shit. There's nothing to say that this is absolutely proof that BioWare is going to be shut down. This is just like the first nail in the coffin. Okay, this is the first one. The final nail will be like what we saw yesterday with Visceral Games, where they had a game that they were working on, and then the game was taken away from them to have another studio finish it to have them be shut down. Whoo, that's not good. We will have to wait and see if things that happens to BioWare. DICE seems to be fine. EA seems to like DICE, and they're not going to shut down DICE. At least until, I guess, until they start not making good games. At least until they start making a profit. But they seem to take all their good people and put them into DICE. So, I don't know. I don't know. And I think it was Total Biscuit, or it was either Total Biscuit or Jim Sterling who was just like, just when WB was trying to be the worst company this year, EA steps up to the plate. Something like that. EA was doing great. EA was doing great until now. Until everything was going fine. I even wanted their stupid pay-to-win game. And now I don't. I don't know. Oh, it's so weird. It's a really weird time in our hobby. It's still a great time. This year has been, they've put out so many good video games this year. I cannot believe how many good games there have been this year. But it's still just, I'm worried about BioWare. That's the one I'm worried about. Like, really, Dandruff is saying he's worried about BioWare October 18th, 2017. If and when BioWare gets shut down, I'll be like, hey, look back to then. I was worried. I said something. Hell, you can go check yesterday's episode. I sent something to them, too. So, I don't know what else to talk about. How do you sell 4 million games and it's not enough? How do you sell 4 million copies of a niche game and it's not enough? It's like, I know Capcom said, like, selling 8 million copies of Mega Man isn't enough. How? I guess don't put $60 million into it then. Put $40 million into it. I mean, if it sells 1 million copies, I mean, all right, reasonably, what, 15 million for 1 million copies sold, I think is a reasonable place. If you sell 1 million copies, that's $45 million, you stand a profit, that's 3 times, like, so can we start making games like that? Can we start making games that are, like, I'm okay with that. Can we have tons and tons of games that are smaller and not everybody plays all of them? Yes, it's going to make it harder on reviewers, but, you know, then there's more of a reason to find a reviewer that you like that reviews certain games. So it's really weird to me. I want to see more smaller games. I like smaller indie games. So, I mean, I understand that's not what everybody likes. I like the occasional big game. But I think at that point, multiple studios should come together, and it's like, oh, this studio, and this studio worked on it. Then they worked on these other projects before, and they came together, made this one. After they made that, they went back and made their own indie games again. I think that's a much smarter idea, because then you don't have to keep closing down these companies. It's just so weird. I love you, Maxis. RIP Maxis 2014. I think it was 2014 they shut them down. If it wasn't 2014, it was 2015. Pretty sure, actually, it was on my show. Pretty sure I reported it on my show. I'm going to have to go back and watch my show. Wait, who watches this thing? I don't know who watches this thing anymore. Social media links are over here, everybody. Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon. Patreon, of course, because I love you, and you love me, and there's money involved. Oh, boy. Just click over here, subscribe to my channel. Click over here to watch yesterday's episode where we talked about EA shutting down Visceral Games. You will be missed, Visceral. BioWare. Be ready, WoWware. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye.